Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday Live with Joe and Jen.
Hello.
And today we got a really special guest, Marla, who she's like the wizard of CRMs with REI software. Marla, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Super excited. Yeah. So we've known Marla for a little over 4 years now, and we were just starting which we didn't realize, our full-time real estate investing journey when we got to meet. And you really helped us so much along the way. And I'd love for everyone listening, and I'm sure we'll get some live Q&A too, just to kind of dive into the world of CRM and a little bit about Facebook ads and just in your experience, some of the best practices out there, and really break down what a CRM can do and let people know that this is out there. It's a really great tool for those who are looking to scale their portfolios and talk to more sellers.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that, for so many, whether you're just getting started or you're looking to grow and scale, right? It's important to have systems that are set up to not only help you when you're a baby in your business, but also as you're growing and creating that firm foundation is so important. So we're talking about everything from just managing the leads as they come in and doing that in an automated, in a systematized way, right? So that you can see everything. It's really clear. You can easily send text messages and emails to those contacts and see it all in one location. Have recordings of your phone calls, landing pages, all essentially your entire business in a box, right? And being able to do that and see it in a way that's fully, it allows you to be able to grow. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so much, like with so many moving parts when you're getting started, or even along when you're in your journey further along. So you want to find the right people. We always talk about that too, like build your team, and you've always been a part of our team. We're so grateful for that. So you want to kind of share a little bit, how did you get into this? Like, how did Marla, dive into real estate and the tech piece? I mean, you're so passionate about it whenever you're teaching. I remember when I first joined years ago, I was like, man, this woman knows a lot about technology and all these like things. I had no idea. I still don't know half of what our CRM does, probably because you just keep showing me new things all the time.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, like my technology goes back literally to building websites and, in the late 90s, I guess. And queries and, working on old mainframes and all that kind of stuff. And then just evolving into getting my degree in digital marketing, working in government, and then essentially starting my own agency. And how I guess I connected with real estate investors is because, like many people, I loved the idea of real estate. And so I got my license and I became an agent and a broker, and I was licensed in 2 different states. But I always found that I loved being on the technical side, on the marketing side and all of that kind of thing. And, if you are, whether you're an agent or you're a real estate investor, you've got to decide which lane you want to play in, right? Do you want to be an investor, or do you want to, manage technology? You should not be in both areas, right? And so you want to have a tech stack that can really allow you to do what you love. And I couldn't be a real estate agent and do marketing and technology. So I decided to focus my efforts, and that's how I got involved in investing and supporting investors in that journey through whether it be websites or marketing automations and things like that. And so many times I see investors who come into the game and they were really struggling. They were, duct taping, active campaign or Podio or this or that. And all of these, using Zapier and all of these different technologies. And so I really wanted to create an environment that could be essentially all inclusive and would have awesome integrations with Google and Facebook and, and so that's what I started working toward, and was able to, find solutions that would allow that.
Well, I think that's key too, because obviously, refining those processes, figuring out what's been working, right? And really just with your knowledge and background, making the best out of it and helping us investors. Because I could tell you before, Marla, when it was just Jen and Joe, we were like scrap pieces of paper, and it'd be like my office at our old house would have these sticky notes like all over my monitor. And I remember one time I'm like, hey, babe, where's that house? It's on a sticky note, and there's 53 of them. And I'm like, no, not that one, the other one, right? And so we got to a point where in the beginning, we didn't have one, but we realized pretty quickly how to keep everything organized and how important that is, right? So you've been doing this now for a long time. You've worked with a lot of investors, right? You've obviously built out REI software. So can we talk about, like, because we love it, we use it, but what are some of like your key features about your software that you really just like love, and it helps us investors stay organized?
Yeah, especially newbies, like when we started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think the some of the really, I think, core features are being able to email and text and do email and text follow up, right? Those are not the same thing. An initial text that you might send could be transactional as you are going through a contract. That could be a transactional, like, hey, could you send me some photos of X, Y, and Z? Those are transactional components of sending text messages. But when you get a new lead, they should be automatically sent emails and text messages and done so for like a year, and just staying in contact with them and doing that in a way that you don't have to touch it. It should be set it and forget it. And until they communicate with you. Of course, I want you to, I always say, yes, call your leads, because you want to meet those leads where they are. Some people are telephone people, some people are text people, some people are email people, some people are Facebook Messenger people. And so you can communicate on all of those different channels and stay in contact with them. But the beauty also of REI software is you can see all of those communications inside of the contact, and they're in date order, and being able to create a reminder tasks for yourself or even someone on your team if once you do have a team or you have a VA, and having everything laid out in a way that just makes sense, right? You can literally walk those leads through their entire pipeline journey all the way to closing. And so I think that having organization from the onset is really important. And that way those sticky notes don't get lost, those calls don't get missed. And then of course we integrate with Google Calendar. So you're able to literally, while you're in there talking to them, you can book them on your calendar, and do all of that right inside of the contact. So you're not jumping from one calendar program to your email, to your phone, to text message and all of that.
Well, and I want to get into one thing that you said that was really a little golden nugget right there about following up with these people up to even a year, right? Because here's the thing, guys, like if you're going to talk to a seller and you think you're going to get a deal the first time that you spoke to that seller, and then if you don't get that deal, you never talk to them again. It's what we call the definition of a hamster, running on that hamster wheel, putting in a lot of effort, but not getting anywhere, right? So the fortune's in the follow-up. And I would love to say, sure, the first time we talk to somebody, said, you got a deal, and we make that deal and life is great. That is very seldom, right? Many times you've had many conversations that could go over days, weeks, months, sometimes even years. So to be organized, because we're running a small little campaign right now, and I couldn't believe how many people we talked to in 2022 who still haven't sold their house yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, and we're still having talks with those same people. So that's the key.
And I think too, I was going to say the all-inclusive piece was really important too.
Yeah. And back just to tie back into what Joe was saying, I can't tell you how important it is to, your pipeline should be, you're building it not for necessarily for today. There may be somebody that raises their hand and says, yes, I need to sell my house right now. And they jump in and they're ready to rock and roll. But like to Joe's point, the majority of the time that is about building that relationship, building rapport with them, and meeting them when they are ready, their timeline. And sometimes that timeline could be literally months. I've seen 8, 10, 12 months out where people are starting to come. And the beauty of it is your pipeline compounds over time, right? And it just grows. And as long as you keep feeding it, those people that are ready in 2 months, 8 months, 10 months, you just keep filling that up. And next thing you know, there's 4 deals in there. There's 5 deals a month because you kept putting leads and stacking them on top. And so that's the beauty.
I can't even tell you how many leads are in our CRM because your eyes, you probably see more, but I mean, it's a little like, wow, because it's legitly kept them all in one spot. I can't imagine my whole room here would be full of sticky notes. If all of those leads were sticky notes, you'd never see the ground, nothing. So
not just the sticky notes, but like the information sheet where you would write down all the information. Like literally you have a note section. So if you're on the call, you can type up or kind of do a quick brain dump after the call. Like you said, it's recorded in there. So that's super handy too, because I remember there'd be times where we'd be dropping the kids off wherever and he's doing a quick seller call, and then we can just go back and re-listen and jot things down when we needed to. So it's just so nice to be able to call right from that device.
Yeah. And I will say too, we literally just released a new feature. I don't know if you've even had time to see it, but we've got a seller lead sheet. So you literally can go in and as you are on a call with your seller, it's just going to kind of prompt you through a series of questions that you should be asking to qualify them. And you can fill that in right on the call, submit it. As you get new information, you can open it back up, update that information. All of it's being stored in there, but it's also going over into the in the notes section. And I think especially for new investors, you get a seller on the phone and, you're thinking, oh gosh, I know I was supposed to ask a bunch of questions, or let me open the sheet that has all the questions. And so it's, having that and it's dedicated inside of the contact, I think is an awesome new feature.
Yay. Because, the 2 keys to what you just said, number 1 is right when you get off a call, Jen said this a second ago, right after you get off the call, don't do anything else besides go in there, go to your notes section and do that 30-second brain dump as far as all the information you've talked about, because later on when you go back to that lead, having great notes is key. That's a huge time saver right there if you just implement that from the beginning. So the fact that you're already giving them like that information sheet, they can fill it out. So it gives them, here's the right information, right? And we've collected most of it or all of it or whatever part of it. And that's going to help you make better, faster decisions. And we don't have an unlimited time. So being organized is key. So I can't wait.
Yeah.
How do I get our hands on that? Is it already out?
Yeah. So I believe we just sent an email out on that, but I will also make sure that we bump that up in your emails. So, cool. But yeah, there's also, even as they go after the call and they want to go and start evaluating the property and running comps, and they can literally log all of that right inside of the same sheet. So that way they've got a property listing sheet or seller sheet that they can just take from start to finish.
So that is awesome. And one of the new features, it's not even a new feature, but one of the features that I've been using and our team has been using is this dialer.
Yeah.
Wow. So for some of you might not know what a dialer is, but what happens inside of Marla's CRM, there's different categories. And depending on where your seller is in their journey from the very beginning to maybe somewhere in between, to maybe either you won the deal and you've made it, or you lost it because they sold it, or whatever they are in between there's a couple different slots. Which is nice there's a feature about dialing. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So essentially the slots that you're talking about, we've got pipelines and pipeline stages. And so think of all of your sellers along their journey. They've got different stages. They come in as maybe a new lead and they're responsive, or they've booked an appointment, or they need future follow-up, or wherever they are in the pipeline stage. And so you can take those stages and say, okay, I want to call every one of these leads that are in this stage that that we haven't converted, whichever stage it is that you really want to focus in. And you literally can, apply a tag. It's going to go into our dialer. You're going to go log into the dialer, and it's just going to call all of those leads for you, one after the next, and you disposition the call, that you left a message or there was no answer or whatever. You can pause the dialer, and if you need extra time, or it will go directly on to the next call. And so you can, work that lead to, either just for calling purposes, or you could go in there and start looking more advanced at different features and doing different things.
So I will tell you what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give everybody a little tip right now. We have a category in our CRM, because I did add this one. Abby did, not me. It's a category where the seller has said yes to doing seller financing,
mm-hmm.
but they want too much money down. So we put them into a special category, because if they say yes to a number with less money down, then we would make that deal. And they already understand the theory of seller financing. So they're not opposed to it. They just want a lot of money down. So now that we have, 50, 60 people in that category, you just sit there, turn on the dial, and when Tom, Janet, Bob, whoever pulls up next, like, hey, I know we talked about your house. I'm still interested in buying. And then it pops up the notes, and I could see that, and I could have that conversation and see if we can move down that number, because like, and all of us know, over time, sometimes their situation might change, and now they might have the ability to do other things. So staying on top of those leads and following with them regularly. And if all of a sudden they say, sold it, take them out. If they say, yes, let's go, put them in the right spot. Or if not, leave them in that same category, and we'll follow up down the road. So I love having that dialing feature. And the name of the game is talking to people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, I to that point, like you mentioned previously, number one, people may not be ready at a given time. And then in addition, they may not be open to the terms that you've proposed, whether it be creative, which who doesn't love that, or, a wholesale deal. Sometimes you offer both, and they neither one of those are acceptable to them. But as their circumstances change, they can become increasingly motivated. And so staying in contact with them, making sure that you're organizing that pipeline, to your point, putting them into a pipeline stage that, or even a tag, so that you can easily go back to those contacts and go back through them and stay in contact with them, because also that's building rapport. Just reaching out, checking in, wanted to see if their circumstances had changed since the last time we talked. How's the house sale going? That kind of thing. Just really being there with them and connecting, I think is an awesome idea. So I love the way that you're using that.
And I will say the tip is kill them with kindness, be nice and sweet. People got a lot of stuff going on. Some people aren't living their best life. Some people are having even a great day or a rough day. Doesn't matter. Be that good spot in their life, kill them with kindness, even if they're not in the best spot, because they do remember that, right? And they do come back, and you cannot believe the deals that you can have if you, talk to people and generate leads, keep them organized. So if you don't make the deal today, maybe it's tomorrow or next week, be really, really nice and just be consistent, right? And that consistency is key. So what are some of your best tips for people who are just starting out and they're looking for that consistency? Is it the CRM? Is it what is it that Marla recommends? You've seen a lot of people come into the space who said, I'm kind of new.
Yeah. So I think that there's a couple of different scenarios, right? Depending on where you are in your journey and how much or what you're willing to invest, right? There are times where, people are just starting out and they truly just need an organic strategy, which you guys teach. And it's a wonderful strategy. As you grow, then it makes sense to start looking at leads and, lead generation and other methods, because the busier that you become when you've got more leads, you're not going to necessarily have as much time to spend on organic strategies. And so that can be a way that you pivot. But I think ultimately it's showing up every day, right? And it's showing up and being committed to hearing a bunch of no's. It's showing up and being in Facebook groups and looking and working and doing the things that you need to do. If you're doing lead generation, it's showing up and making the calls. Fortunes are made in follow-up, and they're made in the mundane a lot of times. And, you know, I always kind of use an analogy of going to the gym. You know, when you first start going to the gym, it's painful. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't make sense. And you know, your muscles hurt, and you think, I just don't want to really, I don't know if I want to do this, or you start to make excuses. And it's very similar in business. And, you know, the people with the big muscles are the people that showed up every day at the gym. And, and I know when I first started learning tech, it did not come naturally to me in the beginning, and it was uncomfortable. And I'd make mistakes, but I just pushed through to the point of learning new technology and learning new skills. And so I think the same thing is with investing is just show up every day, do the uncomfortable, and you get rewarded. Just keep doing it.
I love that. We're huge proponents of, that analogy too. And I think sometimes we see it and it looks so fun and exciting, and it does have those moments, but like you said, it's like the mundane little things. Yeah. And if we can automate, then even better, because it is hard to follow up with thousands of people, or even 20 if you or 5 or 10 to remember, like, did I talk to him? Did I not? When did I email? When did I text? Did I call him? So having everything in a centralized location, definitely key.
Yep.
Well, the one thing I love about the CRM is when we've had contact with somebody, it shows us the whole process from messaging to calls. The calls are recorded. I could hit play. I could go look at notes. So everybody's file is really easily organized. So it takes out all the questions of when did I follow up with them last? You could see your automation doing it, because we have a couple of things that go off. And I'm like, oh, we just sent out some emails, right? Or we just sent out a text message about this deal. So it's great to have that automation. But the one thing, not just one, many, but the other factor I really love about your system is that we could also have our team on.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's not just like the CRM for just Joe or just Jen. We have Jen, you've got myself, you've got Lexi, you even have one of the young ladies who works for us, and she's out of the country, right? So Michelle, who's our virtual assistant, she lives in the Philippines, and she's still in our system, doing all of the things, updating the notes, following up with sellers. So it's really great to have that teamwork. So can you get into how that works, and, maybe having different people for each spot?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I love is that, and that I've always strived to create it as an environment where we're not nickel and diming the investors. Right. A lot of investors are just starting out, and they're looking for a solution that's going to not break the bank, and it's going to allow them to grow. And one of the things that other CRMs will frequently do is charge per user, or what they call per seat, or per license. And that's not something that I wanted to get into, because it can be cost prohibitive to grow. And I never want an investor to feel like that we're not backing them in their corner, like we're constantly nipping away at it. We really want to be a partner in your investment journey and help you grow without feeling like, oh gosh, there's that, there's that RES software. And so, yeah, we want it to always feel like it's a blessing.
Well, and I think that's really the key. So if Jen and myself, like, we brought on some more help. We've got all of those leads we talked. It's 15,000. Anybody want to help? Drop help down below, and maybe we'll let you take a look at some of these leads we have. Drop help, okay? But what we did,
always recruiting.
I know, right? Hey, you never know. Maybe somebody's like, hey, I want to help. I could get access to 16,000 leads of sellers who want to sell their house. You never know, right? But either way, we brought on a couple people to recently help us without having to create extra charges against our business, because they want to help us go through some of these leads that we have and help organize them. Some of these people that we've chatted with, maybe they haven't responded the last few times, but we're trying to see if did they sell their house, they still have it. And if they do, we put them in the right spot, right? And then we have these conversations to see if they still want to sell it. And I love that factor about REI software is that, right? I could add more people, easy peasy to do.
Yeah.
And there's no extra charges for that.
And, I kind of want to lean into, kind of talking about support is, when you're first starting out, regardless of your lead source, whether you are manually entering them or at some point, if you take on a lead generation method, setting them up early on, doing it the right way so that it comes in, it has the right tagging, it has the right lead source information, that it's going into the campaigns, and all of those types of things can be really important. And so one thing I always encourage investors to do is utilize our support. Open a ticket, ask a question, whether it be through messaging or through, email, because we really do want to make sure that your system is set up right and it's serving you at its highest and best capability, right? If you think about a lead, I could just throw a lead into my pipeline and it's not going to necessarily do anything. It may not go ahead and add them to the follow-up campaign, but it very easily could. And so we want to make sure that you're setting everything up right. So anytime you are working through the CRM, feel free to reach out to our support team, and we're happy to take a look and see if you did it right, if it meets the expectations of what you were trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. And I can vouch for that because I know Abby puts in a ticket or two. I don't know if it's a day or a week, but no, she's always making sure if something's not connecting, or she gets in right away. And you guys have been awesome about that. And I remember even 4 years ago, I was trying to figure out some things, and you guys sat down patiently, walked me through some things, because it's not always, you don't have to know everything, but you need to know some basics to be able to navigate it really well. So don't let it overwhelm you. If you're at that point where you have a lot of leads and pen and paper is just not cutting it, or you can't plug in anymore in your Google Calendar without going crazy, it's probably time to start thinking about properly organizing, because I get it, people. Like, I'm a pen and paper girl, but there are some things we need to use technology for.
Yeah, I think, starting early. And so, because many times people will wait until they've got like all of these leads and they're like so overwhelmed and so confused. And I think setting up a firm foundation early so you can get to know the system, get to know how to enter leads, get to know how things work before you're overwhelmed with, a giant spreadsheet and tons of sticky notes, right? That's the best time to set your foundation, so that you can learn everything.
Well, and that's the point. So before you go get your company name with the logo on your hats, and you're spending hundreds of dollars for hats and t-shirts that are embroidered, and you bought this .com name, and I'm, Joe buys Minneapolis or whatever, right? And I make the domain, I'm paying for all this stuff. Rather than doing all that, get yourself a CRM, right? Keep your leads organized, talk to people, and before you know it, make some deals, generate some revenue, and then go build the website. But they don't care if you've got a website or first in the beginning. And if you do, then after you can add it.
So the website's included.
Well, then
there you go.
We set it up for them. We set up the website for them.
So then do set up your website. No.
Yeah. Literally all they have to do is buy a domain, $10 a year, whatever GoDaddy's charging. And we set it all up during the onboarding. We do it all for them.
So wait a minute. You're a CRM. You get the website all done. Mm-hmm. All that we got to do now is just talk to sellers and do our jobs.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Definitely want to chat. Like, one of my favorite things was like that's how we started, was really talking on Facebook to sellers. And the way you've got REI software that it literally just pulls everything in from the from the Facebook business suite to the CRM, like that for me was like a no-brainer. And that's when I was really excited, because I love Facebook. I love being able to reach so many people all over the country, wherever you're wanting to invest, and then organize it all in like a really simple manner.
So when people reach out on Facebook, they get loaded to our CRM. And then also when they call, and they call our answering service, which is through another company, through Pat Live, that whole call is on there and it's recorded. So I could go back and I could listen to the call, listen to the information, and it's all right there in one spot. And it gets also pushed into my CRM. So when you're getting leads from all these multiple different ways, they're all getting to that one spot, right? Which now you guys have a really easy app. The desktop's pretty awesome too. I just sit there. Most of the time I sit there with my iPad in front of me and my phone. And between those two things, I just need a corner and I am good. Internet connection. And I can do this all over. So there's times where, because we do live in Florida now, I can go somewhere really cool, especially if Jen's doing something with the kids. I'll go sit at a park or at the beach at a picnic table, have my iPad out, and I can sit there and do this business, which is really pretty awesome.
Fine, rub it in. You're at the beach. Rub it in.
Well, I can't bring 16,000 sticky notes with me if I had it the old-fashioned way. So because of you, this is possible.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So now you've got some stuff kind of newer because everybody keeps hearing about AI. Artificial intelligence, right? And everybody keeps saying if you don't start incorporating this into your business, like you could be potentially missing out. So do you guys have something like that?
We do. Yep. So we have AI that can qualify the leads. So let's say, for example, you get a lead that you get off of Facebook lead, Facebook ad. It's going to come in. We literally set everything up for our users so that it comes in, it will ask them a series of questions to, do like a mini qualification, and literally will book them on your calendar, sends them all the follow-up messaging to remind them of the call so that they are likely to answer, I think that, or even if you're doing a Zoom call, that they're going to be on the Zoom call. A lot of times people get busy and they forget. So those reminder sequences can be really awesome. And so we absolutely are doing AI. It's, answering questions. We, if somebody asks a one-off question or they end up talking about, somebody passing away, AI can be compassionate with them in that situation, but at the same time, we'll guide them back to keeping them on track in a way that sometimes humans have a problem. I think, keeping people on track because we want to be compassionate, but then we kind of get stuck in the compassion, and you end up thinking like, gosh, I'm actually being a psychologist or psychiatrist instead of just staying on with the line of questions. So it does a really good job of keeping that conversation flowing and, still being to where it feels like it's showing compassion.
Well, and the neat thing is, so it's going to ask the right questions and then it's going to book them with a call onto your calendar or whomever's calendar for you automatically. And then once it's booked, it's on your calendar or whoever it's supposed to call on your team if you've got a team.
Right.
So it sends everybody the reminders and it lets the seller know before that time, hey, just as a reminder. So it follows up with them too to make sure that they're actually going to be on the call because, as you know, many times people book appointments and they just are a no-show, right? So to have something confirming that they're going to be there ahead of time is pretty nice. So you guys are obviously got the forefront on technology. Right. So AI, how do you see that going on down the road? Do you think that's going to be more impactful?
So I do think that AI will continue to grow and evolve. And, I've had a good number of people that will say, for example, they have an assistant and they think, well, my assistant asks those questions. And so, I don't really need that, I don't need AI. And then sometimes even the assistants can feel a little bit intimidated. They think, well, gosh, you're going to do away with my job. And I think that really the way that we should approach AI is how can we empower the people that we have on our team to be stronger and better and spend more time on revenue generating activities versus doing the mundane initial inquiries that we could pass off. If you think even back to robotics, yes, it does do some of the dangerous things on an assembly line that humans can they could fall, and it could be they could so whatever that looks like. But then the idea is that we skill them and equip them in other areas of our business.
Well, it's so funny you should say that. So we all had the chat a few weeks ago about the AI and things like that.
Yeah.
And we told our kids about it. So my daughter is 11, my son is 9. They work in our CRM at times. When sellers say stop, because sometimes they do, Brooke verifies that they're sold their house. She's my 11-year-old. She gets in there, verifies that they sold the house. She removes them from the CRM or puts them to abandon, does all the right steps. My son, he is the follow-up specialist. So he does a lot of follow-up. He's 9 years old, guys. When he wants toys, he says it openly. He doesn't get them. He has to work for them, which is really, really awesome. Great job, mom and dad, for that, right? Teaching them how to earn things, not just be given to them. But when we told them about the AI bot, they're both like, we're going to lose our job to a robot. They both said that. Yeah. And I said, no, that robot is going to do some of the things that maybe you can now advance and do other things that are sometimes a little bit more important. And this could take some of those tasks away from you. And they're both like, okay, but we're still going to lose our job to a robot. I was like, well, maybe it's a promotion. Now you're ready to do the next step, right? So it doesn't always mean you're going to lose your job to a robot. However, everybody could use a little bit of extra help.
Absolutely.
Right? And if this could just help implement one small little task and book appointments for you, and now my son and my daughter can now do other things inside the CRM, I think that's a win. So it was so funny when you said that, because my kids were weird.
Forgot how mad they got. Yeah, they were quite upset.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and I think that just taking them on to the next phase of the pipeline, whether it be maybe they can go and pull teach them how to pull a comp, that kind of thing, where, put the address over here, or click on, you literally can click the address button inside of the CRM and it'll open Zillow, grab that, put it over, they can start looking at, stuff. So, teaching them early. I love that you're doing that.
Oh my God, Marla,
I don't think he knew that you could do that.
No, but even more importantly, no, I was just thinking about I'm going to teach the kids how to comp.
Yeah.
That's a video right there.
Oh my gosh.
I'd love to see that. Totally.
So my son and my daughter have read more books than my son, both of them, but my son especially pounds out books like people drink glasses of water. And just nonstop. He's a learner. They're both very big in their sponge mode right now. They're willing to learn anything, sign language, multiple languages. They can do comping. It's really, if you learn it, right? And so I love that idea. And when you said that, probably the next 5 words you said, I didn't hear, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. I love that idea. So, oh my God.
I love that.
Yeah. I do too.
Now we're going to be on a mission.
We totally need a video showing if my kids can do it, you can do it.
Well, our most popular video on our YouTube channel is Brooke when she was 10 years old, and I'm in the kitchen here cooking dinner, and she's texting a seller through the CRM, locking up a seller finance deal, like I'm cutting up an avocado. Jen sees this going on, and she just takes a quick recording, and there's my daughter sending them the message because my hands were all up in the avocado. So
love it.
I'm really big in getting it. We're both.
Well, that's how easy the CRM is to use too, though. Like a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, they can just hop right in and navigate it. So that's really, I think that should speak for itself.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you made it awesome. That's why we love it. That's why we're glad to have you on today, and just share with our audience the tools that we're using. There's a lot of great things out there, but this is the one that we use and we absolutely love it. And it's been super
if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat. We have Marla live here. So CRM questions, anything tech related, Facebook. Because I wanted to touch on the Facebook ads, because what I see a lot of people, and we were guilty of this too, we tried running them ourselves. Once upon a time, we did a boost, or we'd run our own ad, and shocking, nothing really happened or came from it. So why should somebody hire that part out? I know why, but I'd love to hear from your perspective. You know, why should, if you're a real estate investor looking to use sponsored Facebook ads, like what's in it when you hire somebody to help you with that?
Yeah. So and we kind of touched on this earlier, right? If you want to be a real estate investor, you should be talking to people. You should be evaluating properties. You should be, building rapport. Go into Facebook groups and try and find ads at the same time while you are trying to find leads at the same time while your lead generation is going. Eventually you will get so busy with your paid ads that you will just find that you just don't have the time to be in Facebook groups. But I spending time on revenue generating activities is really where an investor should be focused, not on, okay, let me figure out how to build an ad, or let me figure out how to maintain an ad, how to optimize an ad, making sure that it's integrated, relaunching ads, because many of those ads have to be relaunched, sometimes every few days. Sometimes they can go on if they are performing, but generally it requires a lot of time and energy and oversight. And so that's why investors typically bring someone in, because really for about the cost of having a good VA, you can have somebody that is specialized in that field, and they will go ahead and take care of that for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. And it's not complicated, but it's just stuff that you just don't need to spend your time if you're an investor. Worrying about all the back end bells and whistles of like, is this thing doing that? Is it targeting, retargeting, like all the nuances that come with running sponsored ads, and somebody that has a trained eye can quickly go in there and just be like, okay, got it.
Yeah. And also one of the, I think the pitfalls that I would encourage investors to not fall into the trap of is because they bring on a VA, they will say, okay, well, I'm going to take my VA from the Philippines and I'm going to train them to do my Facebook ads. That's a recipe. I have seen so many times that it's a recipe for disaster a lot of times, because that VA doesn't know, and they are essentially burning your money, and if you've got more money than then pay somebody to do it. But if you want to actually preserve those dollars, don't try and train someone into being an ad manager, because that's a very expensive. And I've actually seen where people have done that and they've unfortunately decided to walk away from being an investor because they brought in somebody trying to make that VA into a lead manager. And they're paying for the VA, they're paying for the ad spend and not getting results.
That's the worst, because
Yeah.
the whole point is, if you're spending money, you want to have a return on that investment, like
Yeah.
by a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's also too, but and I'm going to help, because that also is going to be based on the investor. How well do you train your team? I think it's going to be really important. Outsourcing a bunch of it is going to be super important. But this is also too why we love creative finance, because what we found was we could make more deals with generating leads than if I was just wholesaling, right? So now we could offer somebody who comes in a beautiful house and they want a lot of money for it because it doesn't need a lot of work, but they're open to terms, like we can make that deal. So it's really also on the investor of, when you do get those leads, what do you do with them? Did it take you 5 days to get back to them? Or did you get back to them that day, right? Did you get back to them immediately? That's the point, right? So a lot of it is, when I say investors say it doesn't work, guys, it works. It's usually, if it doesn't work, user error. Okay, because there's just way too many people doing this successfully to say it doesn't work. That's obviously, that's been ruled out. Yeah. So if it's not working for you, we have to now go back to, what are your fundamentals? What are some of the steps that you're doing in your business? This will help keep you organized.
Or not doing.
Or not doing, right? Yeah. This will help keep you organized.
Yeah.
This is where you're going to want all your leads to go to. But it's also important to be on top of your game. And rather, you've learned how to do this from somebody and you've gotten formal education on how to do these kind of deals, right? Because if you go out and you spend all the money on the CRMs and you're spending money on VAs and you're spending money on this, but you've never researched how to do a deal, you're going to get frustrated quickly. So this is where I think it's super important to be around the people doing this, right? Be around the people who are actually in the business using these kind of software or whatever, and learn from what's working, right? Get into that coaching program or whatever. That's how we got to meet Marla. We joined a coaching program years ago, guys, over 4 years ago. And that's when we got to meet Marla. So it's all those little things that you do. You don't realize what those relationships could blossom into, because 4 years later, it's the same thing. We have a large pipeline now. We're still attracting more leads. We've learned a lot throughout the years. And it's great to have it all organized in that one spot. So I think that's really been key.
Absolutely. And, we were talking about, the follow-up, having even AI that's out there following up. I was at dinner the other night watching AI book leads for one of my investors, and I'm sure they were at dinner too. And so literally booked appointment at dinner. But if you aren't working with, to your point, someone like you guys that is going to coach them to actually how to handle that call when the AI books it, you're not going to know. And I mean, I've seen people try and shortcut the process of not going through a formal training, and then they're like messaging me like, what do I say? What do I do? And I'm like, hey guys, you're going to have to get with a coach so you can, they can take you through that, because we generate leads, we provide amazing software, but we don't coach each call. That's where awesome people like you guys do.
Well, and that's really been the key to us, because I know when we first got started and we would generate leads before we really started getting some like great coaching, we missed so many deals. We missed so many opportunities, which we just didn't know what we were looking for. We didn't know what we were looking at, right? And so I put on my Facebook not too long ago that the most expensive way to learn something new is to try to figure it out on your own.
So true.
And it's mostly because of lost opportunities, right? And that's why.
So much time.
And so much time.
Yeah.
Well, and this is what they look at, like top level CEOs, like their most important thing is like time, right? So you don't have that much time. So in the little bit of time I do have, like I have to really move that needle. It's the same thing that goes with real estate investors. So I love the software because you're able to book appointments while you're living your life. You're able to generate leads while you're doing other things. Right? Wasn't always as easy when I first got started 24 years ago, I promise you, with all the automation and all the things now. So if I could just have leads booked on my calendar to where I just pick up the phone, have a conversation with another human to see if we can make a deal, that's the art of this. So that's why we love you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Well,
So
we love you too.
We have our link here for REI software.
Yep.
Are you on Instagram or Facebook, or where does somebody go to follow Marla and find out more about all the wonderful things that you do?
So for me, I'd love for anyone to follow me on Facebook. I am on, I'll drop my link. And I've actually set up a link just for today and a coupon code for your students.
Love coupons.
Everybody that comes in and uses this coupon code, we are going to give them, gosh, I've lost there's my StreamYard. There we go. We're going to let them have a special offer. So I linked that. I'm also going to put a link to my Facebook page. But that particular offer is, you're going to get 90 days of CRM for free. You're getting like over 35% discount on the best offer that I have ever given. And it's just for you guys. Use that coupon code.
Gosh, here we go.
And it is just until Sunday night. It is, and I'm going to try probably in capping it at 3 because it is that is an all-inclusive package. I mean, that is lead gen. That is, like I said, CRM, setup, your website, whatever we need to get you going. AI is included in that. It's a beast. That's a beast package, and it's an amazing offer.
That is so incredible of you. If you're listening, like, you better run because, like, that's crazy. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Marla.
Yeah,
You bet.
awesome.
You bet.
Yeah, cool.
Your students have been always some of my favorites to work with. So if you are a coach and you want to get set up like Jen and Joe, connect with me on Facebook. Let's talk. But, and you don't get their package. They've got a secret sauce. Every coach gets a secret sauce package. Jen and Joe's is special and unique to them. So if you want to experience the success, get in their program and go to their link.
Bam.
And then this is Marla's Facebook. So if you are off Facebook, which you should be, because that's where we find our sellers.
Yeah.
I see Marla doing all types of stuff, winning awards, just like crushing it. So it is really cool.
We're trying to get her down here to Florida. So we at least got her to come on here, but we're hoping to connect in person.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, also that's the CRM software does have a couple of Chrome extensions that you can use to, templatize your outreach into Facebook groups and things like that. So you can create that template once, boom, pop it in, use it again and again. So you got easy outreach as you're going through the program and doing your organic marketing too. So there's a lot of different things there.
Guys, you have no idea all this stuff does. Can I tell you? I'm going to be honest with you too. I learn stuff new all the time, and it's been 4 years. Probably because you keep on adding more cool stuff to it.
Well, you stay with the time. That's the best part. Like, you're not like, oh, this was working great 4 years ago, I'm just going to stay with it. No, like, you're constantly updating and making sure everybody is like got the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, for sure. And we've got some new, a brand new website that just dropped, that the investors can use. If you are, doing creative finance and if you ever get into capital raising or anything like that, we've got that covered as well. So lots of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Gosh, guys, if you're not already following Marla,
like Christmas in May.
Make sure you do. She's awesome, guys. And thank you so much, Marla, for coming and spending an hour with us today.
I know you're busy.
Tuesday. You are super busy, so I'm thrilled we had you on today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you're a rock star, so we definitely appreciate your help in our business. And guys, if you need somebody who's legit, like does it on a high level, does a very great job, has a great team behind her. So she's not just trying to do it on her own. She's got amazing people around her. Marla is the one. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much, Marla, once again.
Thank you, Marla.
You guys are awesome. Love you guys.
And, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much, Marla.
Take care,
thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.